You know what it is. Welcome back to another video, y'all. You know what we talking about. Switch 2. We gotta talk Switch 2. It's the new hype. I'm super ecstatic for this thing. I'm like a kid in a candy shop. I cannot wait for June 4th to get here for me because my release is at 11 p.m. June 4th. That's going to be when the midnight launch kicks off for me. So I'm super excited for that. Anyways, though, we're here because I want to talk about what's been going on with this discourse with the specs. We got people on both ends of the spectrum. You got the guys on the Nintendo side, the fans who don't want to take this for what it is. They're like, this is BS, what Digital Foundry has said, because they were the ones who said that these were the confirmed specs that they unveiled to us. So some of the fans are like, bro, confirmed official from who? Nintendo didn't give it to you. But here's the thing. These specs that they unveil have been out there for a while. These leaks go back for months on months now, and all of this lines up, so I don't have any reason to think this isn't the actual truth. However, I think there is more to it than just raw specs. So you got the guys on the PlayStation side, the ponies as people call them, and Xbox as well, which I don't know why they would even get involved. Like, bro, y'all third party now. Y'all supposed to be supporting everything. But anyways, the PlayStation guys in particular, they see the specs and they're calling it out like it's abysmal. The Switch 2 is weak, this, that, and the other. But what I really believe is, I think that there's a pendulum shift. I believe that the standard as we've come to know when we look at specs and we think raw power is the difference maker, I think Nintendo and Nvidia are about to change that. I believe what they've cooked into this chip being a chip designed specifically, a custom chip for Nintendo by Nvidia. This isn't the same situation with the Tegra X1, although the Tegra X1 in its own rights was a beast and it was downclocked severely for the Switch 1. But it was a chip that was already manufactured, and Nvidia wasn't doing anything with it, and it worked out for Nintendo because it allowed them to realize their vision of the Switch 1. But this time around, this is a chip that's custom made specifically for the Switch 2 with that in mind. The Tegra X1 was a very good chip that was designed for high performance with low power draw. So looking at the Switch 2 with the T239, you gotta bet that Nvidia also had this same mindset for that chip as well. How can we get high performance out of something that only draws a certain amount of power? And I think that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing high gains from a low power draw. And then with the DLSS included in that, it's taking things to a whole nother level. It's actually making me wonder now, has the standard shift where it was at first, it was more about raw specs, raw power, but the Switch 2 seems to be redefining what that is. It's not about raw power, it's about efficiency and upscaling. Now we've gotten to a point with these AI upscalers where it's hard to determine if it's native or not, especially with these games running on the Switch 2, because they baked this in with that DLSS, and now things are starting, the lines have become blurred. And maybe I'm just tripping, but bro, let me know what you guys think, because what I'm seeing isn't lining up with specs. And wait, you know what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about those specs. As a matter of fact, I want to focus on one key aspect of those specs, because this was the one a lot of people have been talking about, I'll say, and that's the system memory, the gigabytes, the RAM. So of course we know that it has 12 gigabytes of RAM. It's 12 gigabytes of system RAM, but 3 of those are reserved for the operation system. The other 9 are for developers so they can make games. Well, think about this. The PS4 Pro had 8 gigabytes of system RAM, but only 5.5 of that RAM was allocated to developers for games. Now look at the Switch 2. It has way more RAM than that that's being actually allocated to developers. So they have way more to work with than they did on a PS4 Pro. So that kind of puts it more in line with a Series S just by that metric. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that in raw specs it's on par with a Series S. Of course not. But what we're seeing in terms of visual quality, when you look at games like Street Fighter 6 on the Switch 2 compared to the Street Fighter 6 on the Series S, there is a difference, and it's in the favor of the Switch. The visuals look a lot better on the Switch 2 than they do on the Series S. That's saying something. I don't know if any of you have seen the Japanese footage that was recently released of Cyberpunk 2077 running on the Switch 2, and it looked damn good. And I'm like, whoa. I mean, like, is it like what we're seeing? What we're seeing here is unreal compared to what we're seeing on paper based off of specs. And I think people need to start to look at that and kind of disassociate that mindset, disassociate from that mindset that you've had in the past where more power means better performance. Maybe we move beyond that now. Things have become more efficient, technology has advanced, and now we have a Switch 2, which I can't wait to get my hands on to see and experience this for myself and see just how impressive this thing is in person. Do you guys agree with where I'm going with this? Do you think maybe there is more than meets the eye with the Switch 2 and it's just overall raw specs? Or am I just reaching? Let me know in the comment section down below if you agree or disagree. Please like and sub if you haven't already done that, and turn on the notification bell because I will be dropping more videos like this in the future. Until next time, peace.